Okay, welcome everyone to tonight's show. Tonight we have two very special guests, Matt Cunningham and Stu Gilligan. G'day fellas, how are we?
Good, thanks.
Good, mate.
We've had a little bit of a hiccup with daylight savings tonight, so these poor guys have been waiting for me for about an hour, which is probably normal, most people that know me. So I apologise guys for that. Thanks so much for agreeing to do this tonight.
Thanks, mate, for inviting us.
Could you guys introduce yourselves and let us know what you've been shooting and for how long?
So my name's Stuart Gillahan. I've mainly been shooting pests, deer, all that side of hunting orientated stuff. I've only recently got into competition shooting in the last sort of year and a half. So shot a PRS match, a lot of NRL, shot a field match over in New Zealand.
Nice.
And yeah, the finale up at Coffs Harbour this year.
Yep.
Yeah, same story. Grew up hunting. Only since our club has started that I've done any sort of competition shooting. We got to shoot Brisbane 2 years ago for the finale, and got to shoot Coffs this year as well. So yeah, mainly just hunting, and then last couple of years target shooting. So.
Excellent. Now, to set the scene for our listeners, you two dudes have run, was it the first NRL22X match?
Correct. Yep.
At Buchan Club.
Yep.
Correct. Yep. Buchan Precision Rifle Club.
I was so excited when I saw that on Facebook. I just thought, oh my God, good on yous. Well done. So I thought it was Jason Shaw's idea, to be honest, because I was running low off content, and he goes, get onto these dudes and have a bit of a talk about how all that went. So,
Cheers, Jaz.
How did the whole concept of running an NRL22X match start?
Most months we would run an afternoon club match after the standard NRL22. So running a full day event was sort of semi-normal to us.
Yep.
We try and encourage a lot of guys to come camp at the range with us, because we are a long way out from nowhere. So yeah, it was sort of try and get people to come down for a weekend. It was hopefully the appealing bit. You can come camp at the range and,
make a proper trip out of it.
Correct, yeah. There's only one place to eat it in Buchan, which is the pub. So everyone sort of stays together, which once you finish shooting, you go to the pub together, and you stay as a bit of a group. So, to run a 2-day match over our normal sort of 1 day wasn't too much of a change for us. So.
It felt like a no-brainer. It was
Correct,
sort of like, it feels to me like you guys were expecting to do it at some stage.
Yeah, sort of just like a natural growth of the club, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's it's strange to me. I'm an IPSC shooter, so 98% of the shooting I've done is 2 days, or what we do in the north is like a day and a half. We finish at 12 o'clock. So the guys that have got a bit of, like our northern fellas were 5 hours away. So if they left at lunchtime, it would give them a chance to get home that night.
Yeah, so that was the idea of running a half day on the Sunday. Was that
right.
The guys that did travel, they had plenty of day left to get home in a reasonable time. So, because we're still, most of us are a minimum of an hour from the range. So,
really,
So, no, it just seemed sort of natural for us just to run something like that. So,
Soon as we heard the idea being floated around in the community, we thought, we were sort of in the pre-planning stages of just doing one with the club ourselves, and we're like, this makes sense to jump on board with, to do the NRLX and run with it from there.
Yeah, right. Timed well. So we were going to, like Stu just said, we were going to run a 2-day club match, and the NRLX just sort of timed in well. So we went with that.
Well, congratulations for doing that. I thought that was excellent. I think NRL22 is alive and well in Australia. I think it's in good hands. What distance did you guys shoot out to for your event?
Our furthest target was 300 metres.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, we are. The majority of them, though, were kept sort of within 150, 160. Like we had a couple of long stages just to mix up the course of fire a little bit, but we didn't want to rely on distance to be the difficulty factor.
Yeah. How many shooters did you end up with?
Ended up with 16.
Right.
We're going to cap the match at 30,
Yep.
but we sort of lined up with another Victorian club with their finale for their centre fire.
Right.
So yeah, with a lot of the shooters that would have come from that club didn't make it. So
Right.
we did have guys come down from Queensland, New South Wales, and South Australia as well. So
Okay.
yeah, which was good for us. So and a lot of our local guys were unfortunately away for the weekend too. So
Right.
yeah,
I did read that in your latest Facebook message the other day. Yeah, that's unfortunate. What would you do differently? How did it go? What would you do differently next time?
For the most part, for first time run, it run fairly well. Probably the biggest thing we would change, like we didn't plot out the target points the night before. So with our range, it's quite narrow, so we can only have enough room to set up 5 lanes at a time.
Yep.
So we had to do 3 changeovers throughout the weekend of targets and barricades and all that, which, yeah, for previous events that have been held there, we've gone out and plotted out in the ground where the target hangers have got to go, so all your distance are preset, which we just sort of run out of time to do that leading up to it. So, yeah, that was probably the biggest thing that ideally would do differently.
yeah, and because of the limited number of people we had helping, because we're trying to get as much as our club members to shoot the match as possible. We had one guy who was doing the range officer for us. He helped us a little bit with sort of setting our distances. He was ranging our targets for us.
Yep.
And it was just Stu and I that were running around trying to set up targets and props. So future, yeah, we'd try and get a few extra helpers. But other than that, yeah, it wasn't too bad. We had plenty of time to burn, so
Yeah.
we weren't too concerned with time. So
Yeah.
being daylight savings, it doesn't get dark till 8:30 or 9 o'clock now. So we had time to burn.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, as long as we made it to the pub before they shut, we were happy.
Yeah, righto.
Yeah.
Man, daylight savings. I'm still trying to get my head around that. We've, for some reason, thank God, Queensland has resisted it all my life, and it's just something I don't ever consider. I will now, but okay, right. That's interesting. So you said you can run 5 lanes. How wide are you guys? Are you 25 metres? Are you 50 metres?
20. I think we're about 20. Yeah.
Really? Right.
It's very, very narrow.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's interesting because I too, hopefully next year we'll run an event off a 200 metre range, but I'll be in the same boat.
Yeah.
I'll be 25 metres wide.
It was like we've got room to probably squish a few more in, but it was comfortable. Just keeping distance between props slides it made it comfortable. So
otherwise you start getting a bit too crowded.
Yeah.
The biggest downfall we had was a troop line stage, which because we're so frantically running targets, the target layout got a bit messy.
Yep.
Which, if you were standing up, it looked fine. As soon as you got prone behind the rifle, all the targets were a similar milling dimension. You got lost very easily. So
Right.
that was probably the biggest mistake, I'd say.
yeah, that was probably the biggest one. Just they all blended in as one because of the
Yeah, right.
It was still doable with the map, but it was a lot harder than it sort of needed to be.
Okay. Well, I hope this sort of information helps others out because I'll probably be getting in contact with either one of you or both if I hopefully run something like that up here too.
Yeah.
Our range is yet to be built.
The other thing is our range is quite flat as well.
Right.
So we got berms that set distances up the range.
Yep.
Which we lost a few targets behind berms, which we had to do a few modifications throughout the match just so to either bring props up bring targets up a little bit higher so you could see them over berms.
Right.
Or during the match, so we had to drag the mower out and trim a bit of grass mid-match. So,
that was a result of again, because the range is about an hour drive away from us. All the stages we test shot on a mate's block.
Yep.
So, we could test the stages and how they run, but because we weren't using the actual range layout, sort of left that open to be an issue going when we actually set it up. So
it wasn't exact.
Yeah, so in hindsight, that's another thing we'd probably do differently was, dedicated day to go and test shoot up on the range itself rather than on a different property.
Right. Great info. On average, what were the target sizes and how did you arrive at that?
Most of the long targets around that 1 mil sort of size. Short ones, we went down to what, 0.2?
Yep.
Yeah.
0.2 for either very close or very stable. And then most of the sort of barricadey stuff were, 0.5 to 0.75 of a mil. Depending on whether you were going for a fast stage or a, stable small target stage or, depending on what you were going for the difficulty spike for each.
Yeah. And I would imagine that would be the hard thing, hey, to work out what the difficulty level is going to be. Yeah?
Yeah. Which was the benefit of test shooting, any stage you run to the distance. So, we spent a day test shooting targets at different distances. And once you sort of got either a stable prop or your target layer, you sort of got on a bit of a roll and knew what you're sort of putting in. So,
yep.
Yeah.
We did sort of also have the challenge, I suppose you put it, that we had a very broad range of skill sets of shooters. So some people have only recently started shooting NRL, just regular NRL22, and then guys who have travelled overseas and shot international competition. So to make it where the new shooters could still have fun and get a few hits, but not be a freebie for the more experienced guys, trying to balance that, and keep it where it was still challenging and fun for everyone. Trying to get everything evened out and work well across the board was a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
How did you think you went with that? Did you get feedback?
Yeah, we've chatted to a few guys.
Yeah. We reckon we're pretty close.
Yeah.
A few minor tweaks here and there, but for the most part, we're well and truly within the ballpark.
I would imagine that's going to be very hard to keep. Oh, God, you'll never keep everyone happy, but if you keep the majority happy.
Yeah. And that was the thing. Like, I think I spoke to 3 or 4 different guys that shot it, where one bloke didn't like a certain stage and the next bloke loved it. And that was the theme throughout. Like, Yeah.
You're never going to keep everyone happy.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I think if you work on majorities, you'll be right.
Yeah.
So we just listened to all the good feedback and didn't hear the rest of
it.
So we ran perfect.
What kind of props did you use? I very quickly read some of your posts yesterday. I've just been smashed at work today. Did you have, it sounded like you had some fun props in there.
Yeah, there was a hay feeder.
Yeah, we had an old hay ring.
There's your 5 posts, which is, they're just vertical timber posts, and they just up and down and all sort of staggered heights.
We had a heap of red gum sleepers left over from a previous match. So we had a big sleeper wall, and then we had a very large tank trap made out of the sleepers. So the sleepers 4 meters, 3.5 meters, something like that. So
the tank trap would have to be 6 or 7 meters wide. It's massive.
Really?
Also, we have VTAC barricade, rooftop.
Yeah, we used a couple of really large tractor tires and stuff like that as well. So there was a good variance in props. So we utilised. I don't think we really utilised much of the standard NRL props.
No,
maybe a rooftop. I think a rooftop was about it. So they're all new props to a lot of people. So
good.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
How do you guys see the future of NRL22? Is there anything that you'd like to see more of?
Oh, the future's looking good at the moment. It's growing.
Flying along,
I think, me personally, I'd like to see it stay more as an entry level where any new shooter can rock up with their 22 they use on the farm and not feel as though they have no hope.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it stay competitive with a practical rifle setup.
Yeah.
Whether it's focusing more on base class or weight limits or something along those lines, like it's a balancing act of, you want the sport to push forward, but you don't want everyone to rock up and think they need to buy a $10,000 race gun.
Yeah.
Whether that's through more classes or weight caps or something along those lines, I think for the benefit of the sport, that would be a good thing.
Yeah.
And I know for sure a lot of people are going to strongly disagree with that, but
I think we've had 1 month where we didn't have a new shooter turn up. And then they look at the gun rack and see chassis after chassis after chassis. And then I've had a guy rock up with his old Bruno a couple of times, and he's looking at his old Bruno and then looking at our guns and going, well, I'm not even on the same league, like we got plenty of guys that use standard Lithgos or, standard Tikkas and stuff like that, and they're doing quite well. And well, one of them's doing very well with his standard Tikka. So but yeah, like just try not to scare off those new guys that are rocking up with a fairly factory rifle and not thinking they need like you said, spend $10,000 on a chassis and everything else to be on a competitive level. So because it is a bit daunting for them sometimes. So,
but I think traditionally, like if you go back through the results, the base guys, like in America, have traditionally done very well over the years. I mean,
correct, yeah.
I think the data's there to say you don't need a $9,000 rig to get there.
No, correct. So I'd like to see it where it's probably catering more to lighter practical setups. So whether they are tighter times where a race gun might be limiting just on weight or handleability.
All good thoughts, all good comments. I think this is what we need too within the community. I think PRA is doing a great job with that. Pretty much now I can jump on their Facebook page and get a determination on something that I'm not sure of.
Correct.
I feel supported as an MD. Do you guys have any other advice for clubs wishing to run an X event or even an NRL22 event?
For the NRL22 event, sign up, get in contact with the right people and get it underway.
Keep the club friendly. I think that's a massive thing with our club. We welcome everyone. There's a fair bit of banter at our club, but it's definitely a warming environment. So
couldn't agree more, Matty. I think it's a slippery slope to get really, really competitive and worry about every impact. And I think sometimes when that's going on, the base class guys or the guys that don't take it that seriously, sort of sitting there thinking, "Oh God, I'm not really."
Keep it fun. Like you can be serious. As soon as the your buzzer goes off and you're ready for your shoot, you can be as serious as you want. But once you rack your rifle again, like your round's done. If you shot terrible, well, suck it up. Have a bit of fun. Just keep it entertaining. So I think that's why we seem to get a lot of people coming back. So
good on yous.
Yeah.
Do you guys have this sounds a bit of a weird question. Do you guys have a favourite target hanger you can share with us? But I only ask because I know my local club, we've been through, oh my God, I think we're on like design number 5 at the moment.
Yeah, we've tried a few different setups. Lately we've been using T-post timber hangers, so steel targets on timber T-post, and then a short fire hose strap, like very short. So they sort of you get plenty of swing, and that way, if you're not hitting a steel post and getting miscalled impacts, it mitigates that issue. That's what we've sort of had the best luck with, and we've been using slightly thinner targets. So for especially the long ones, using 4mm Biz 400.
Right.
That way, with the slightly thinner targets, you get more noise back to confirm an impact.
We ran on the longer targets. We ran impact. What are they called?
The hit markers.
Hit markers. Honestly, we didn't need them. The sound recall you got back from hitting a target was very positive. So, Yeah, they work perfectly. I think because they're free hanging on a strap as well, not
Yep.
on a solid post.
Yep.
Yeah, they work very well. And even when people are hitting strap, you could clearly identify
Yep.
it was a strap impact, even at that sort of 250, 300 meters. Guys are sitting on binos and saying, it was definitely, you see a little bit of a movement in the target, but you can clearly identify that it was a strap rather than an impact on a steel target. So,
Man, I'm so glad I asked you guys that question. That
no,
I'm
they've
making
actually worked very well. So,
I'm making notes as we talk.
when we were setting up or practicing the course of fire, we had a target at 30 meters on a strap, and I think I put 6 or 7 mags into it.
Yeah.
The strap, yeah, it was perfect. It held up everything. So that's what we were worried having. We had a couple of close targets in the match. I think we had 2 at 30 meters.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we tried to do the opposite thing. We tried to bring some targets in real close.
Yep.
And that worked really well on the strap. So, the target sort of spun free, and less damage on the targets as well. So, yeah.
Great answers. Do you guys have any specific way to secure the hanger? You're obviously just putting it in straight in the ground.
No, I made up some H-style base frames for them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and again, with our range being flat with the berms, we could slide a piece of timber in, and you could cut it to whatever height you need. So, if you needed a high post, you could just put one in nice and high. If you wanted one low to the ground, you just screw the timber down lower, and it gave us a lot of flexibility for the range. So, if you do want to put one up nice and high, so you don't get if you do miss a target and you can't see your impact point that well. So,
Right.
and then you can just literally pick it up and move it to wherever you want throughout the day. So,
Okay.
yep. And they were just all screwed together. We put all the fire hoses, I pre-cut all that, and we just used tech screws to hold the fire hose on, and then just put a hole in the fire hose and put a bolt through for the target to bolt to it. So
Okay.
it was actually quite simple and easy once we got going. So,
Right. Food for thought. So now you've run one. Any thoughts of running the next one?
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we'll do it again. Like, as we said, we'll change a few little things. We'll probably ditch mandatory mag changes.
Yep.
Yeah, that was one little oversight that we probably put in, just not knowing that all states are allowed more than 10 rounds. And
that was sort of my input. It was try to keep it fair for the guys that were new to the sport that only had 10 round mags.
Yep.
So I just wanted to try and keep that even throughout everyone. It didn't matter if you had a 15 round mag, that sort of, you had to change a mag at some point. It was more than a 10 round stage. So,
Right.
yeah.
So you implemented that, did you?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Right.
We probably, if we did worry about it, probably wouldn't do it on every stage more than 10 rounds anyway. We'd probably change that up a little bit.
Yep.
Most of the other stuff would be fairly similar. Like, we had a couple of stages were maybe a little bit too complex on the course of fire and sequencing.
Yep.
For the majority of newer shooters, which it's a hard one because if we'd had more, more high level shooters come through, then they would have probably been a bit more at home, but they stuck out a little bit with the shooters we had coming through.
Yeah, right.
On the same note, though, the newer shooters experience it and they go, oh, well, I need to lay out my data cards better, so you can write off the learning experience. So it is a tough one on the act of getting things like that, where you don't want to scare people away. You want them to think about what they can do to improve.
Yeah, it's a hard balancing act, I would imagine.
I think we had one stage that might have been a bit tight on time, but I think most times are pretty good. They weren't too far off. Yep.
And I mean, look, fellas, in all reality, the top 5% is going to be the top 5%. I said this to Jason Shaw a couple of times now. The top 5 guys are going to be the top 5 guys. It doesn't really matter what you throw at them.
Correct, yeah. Like, I think the guy, Dave Foster, I think he ended up with 80% of impact, so, which I don't think was too bad for the match. So
yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I only know that's true. See, before I started in NRL22, the only the only stuff I could see online was obviously centerfire, and listened to a lot of podcasts there, and it's a theme where match directors say it's very hard to balance that. So you want the experienced shooters to be challenged, but then you also want to offer something for the lesser experienced guys.
Yeah, we definitely had a couple of gimme targets in there.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with them.
No, and it was funny. Like I think the closer targets are probably the least impacted.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
There was a few where we're like, oh yeah, everyone's going to clean these, and
Nah.
see a few misses. Go, oh,
Yeah.
what's going on here? Like,
How interesting.
Yeah.
but yeah, we threw in a couple of oddball ones where you would have to shoot a distance and then come way back in. So you gave people a choice either of holding under or dialing back, and
Yep.
Yeah.
seeing what the different shooters were doing for those stages was interesting to watch. Like, yeah, sort of their stage thought process and how they tackled it was, yeah.
Yeah. It went from 30 meters to 150. So
Right.
yeah, it was a big shift in distance. So
Right. Well, look, fellas, I applaud you. Thanks for doing that. I mean, man, I was so excited to see that published. I've been trying so hard to do something up here. One day I'd love to come down there and shoot with you fellas. It's just life and work, you know. It gets in the way, eh?
you'll find an excuse.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will. Okay, boys, listen, thanks again so much for doing this. If you guys don't volunteer to do this, this doesn't happen. So thanks again for that. And
Thanks so much, mate.
and all your hard work. All right, boys, thanks so much, and I'll be talking to you.
Too easy, mate. Thanks for having us
No
on.
worries, mate. Have a good one.
Yeah, not a problem. See you, Zach.
See ya.
Bye.